Alright, so after watching Old School Raw last night, here I'm thinking, did the WWE just ruin the crowd, or did the crowd ruin the WWE? Well, now that was just weird. Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mike McRock Wilson, and last night was WWE Monday Night Raw. It was called Old School Raw. It's the first Raw of 2014, and overall I thought the show was a well above average show. There were a lot of good things that happened. Of course, for every Raw, there's always positives and negatives, and I'm actually going to get to the negatives right away. There were three matches I felt were really rehashed matches that didn't look good at all. One was Big E Langston versus Curtis Axel. I mean, this is the 101st time the WWE has put on this match. This was basically Big E Langston squashing Curtis Axel 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring with Ryback on commentary. And like I said, this match was just basically rehashed, squashed, jobber match. What is WWE doing with Curtis Axel? I don't understand why they can't have him involved in some sort of storyline or something that could benefit him. Instead, they treat him like crap. And even though Big E Langston is kind of almost going in that direction, at least he's actually winning matches and going over as an Intercontinental Champion. But that just doesn't cut it. The Intercontinental Champion, like any champion, needs a storyline, and Big E Langston, being the IC Champion, needs to be involved with someone that looks credible to, pose a threat for the Intercontinental Championship, and having him face Curtis Axel just doesn't feel that credible all that well. Another match that was rehashed was Sin Cara versus Alberto Del Rio. That was basically a match where people, would say no one really cares. The other co-host for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Clint Bolt, even ranted on Twitter about who Sin Cara is, being Hunico underneath that mask with the tattoos, even poking to Vince McMahon. So I didn't care about this match at all. I mean, the WWE could have put Alberto Del Rio one-on-one with Big E Langston, and to have some sort of match where Big E Langston goes over as someone who was a former World Heavyweight Champion to get him over even more, instead of putting him in with Curtis Axel. And this is basically WWE's way of Alberto Del Rio going over in a match where it just really doesn't, where no one with a match that no one really cares about. That's WWE logic for you. And even Sin Cara as well, they could have easily booked him for a championship match, U.S. title or Intercontinental Championship, or put him with Curtis Axel for the 100th millionth time. But I can understand why they didn't do that. But so it was just one of those matches. It was just rehashed, not all that great. Moving on. And another match that felt rehashed as well was Damien Sandow versus the Great Khali with the special guest referee Sergeant Slaughter. And I saw this coming from a mile away, based on what happened the week before, where the referee counted 1, 2, 3, where the Great Khali's shoulder was up. So while I was watching this match, I'm thinking, okay, Damien Sandow is going to lose with his foot on the rope, and the referee's not going to see it. And that is what happened. It was just way too predictable. rehashed is an understatement, and I'm just going to move on from there. The show opened up with a not half bad segment. It was Ric Flair coming out, talking about how great it is to feel to be on Raw again, going old school, and Randy Orton came out. He showed his respect to Ric Flair, and he talked about his old Evolution days. And he said he has utmost respect for Flair. And he also couldn't thank him enough to put him under his wing. And he kind of botched that moment where he said ring, wing, ring. It is hard to do when you're live TV, so, there was a couple of botchy moments in Randy Orton's promo. But at least, they got the point across. And then shortly after that, Randy Orton basically said that he wanted Ric Flair to leave because he wanted basically to be the champ, and he was just showing his cockiness, and that showed in his promo. Ric Flair told him off when Randy Orton said to leave the ring. It kind of got heated after a bit, and John Cena comes out and makes the save. Of course, saw this coming from a mile away as well, and basically saying that Randy Orton is a punk. And even before that, when he was talking to Ric Flair called him a punk with his big attitude, even though he got things, even though he was the Intercontinental Champion at his point in time in Evolution, other stuff, etc., etc. While he was with Evolution, he was doing great, but he also had that cocky attitude as well. Ric Flair mentioned that. And like I said, John Cena came out and cut his little promo, and basically at the end, it was Randy Orton trying to sucker punch John Cena, and Randy Orton got out of the ring, and Ric Flair and John Cena were celebrating in the ring, and that promo just basically went nowhere. I was hoping something would happen, like a match would have happened. Something like Randy Orton versus John Cena in a non-title match where Ric Flair as a guest referee. Something along those lines would have been okay, to help build up this, I guess, final match between Randy Orton and John Cena. But it never really went anywhere, and I was kind of disappointed at that. So, moving on from that, we also had the Usos and Rey Mysterio versus the Wyatt family. Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and the new member Daniel Bryan. And I won't go into any detail about the match. I thought the match was decent enough, and at the end, the Usos and Rey Mysterio won the match when Luke Harper got pinned by the good guys, and it was basically Daniel Bryan trying to win the match for the team, but there's a lot of, tagging, blind tags from the Wyatt family, and they're really teasing this rift way too early, so it's really obvious that something's going to happen at the Royal Rumble where Daniel Bryan turns on the Wyatt family and then wins the Royal Rumble match and faces Randy Orton or John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I could see that coming. I hope that's the case. I hope it's not a case of the Animal Batista returning and winning the Royal Rumble. I really don't see that happen. Even though it's likely to happen because of its big return. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about Batista coming back before the Royal Rumble. They're making it sound like that he's going to win, but I would like to see some sort of roadblock happen with Batista and have him not win if Brock Lesnar costs him the match, something like that, to build up this Beast versus the Animal at WrestleMania, something like that. I think needs to happen instead of Batista winning the Royal Rumble and having face Orton with a big evolution thing. No, don't even do it, please. Even though that's likely to happen, WWE, for the love of God, do not do it that way. I'm warning you right now. Okay, so moving on the Old School Raw, we saw a lot of old school guys. We saw DDP. We also saw Sergeant Slaughter, like I said, Bob Backlund, Booker T, Ron Simmons, and after that, all that, we saw, the Real Americans versus the Brotherhood, Cody Rhodes and Goldust non-title match, where Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton won the match. Me personally, I would rather see the Real Americans go over in this match to establish that story between these two teams and develop that story going into Royal Rumble. And here's the interesting thing. Even though the Real Americans lost, they still feel very credible as the #1 contenders for the Tag Team Champions. They are going over well with the crowd, with the We the People chants, great tag team maneuvers, great manager in Zeb Coulter, and I really like that sign he had up as well. And so stuff like that, the WWE needs to establish number one contenders right now. I think the Real Americans look great. You could put in the Usos in there as well, and to form some sort of triple threat tag team match for the tag team championships. That also would work pretty well. So with that being said, we'll see what happens in the weeks to come on WWE Raw and SmackDown. We also saw Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out. And, they made their big entrance, and Paul Heyman cut a good promo. He said about the winner of the match between John Cena and Randy Orton. It doesn't matter who wins. Brock Lesnar is the self-proclaimed #1 contender, and I don't see Brock Lesnar going after the championships right now. I think it's too early, because he just came back. It's too early for Brock Lesnar to be put in that championship storyline. Have another match at WrestleMania where he could really look good, and he could face off against either Batista or The Undertaker, something like that. And with that being said, throughout that segment, you saw Mark Henry come out looking for a redemption from what happened last week with Brock Lesnar, after Brock Lesnar just squashed him. And basically what happened was that Brock Lesnar right away locked in the Kimura lock and broke Mark Henry's arm. So Brock Lesnar looks strong. He looks really good. He looks really credible going forth to WrestleMania. And this is what they should do with Ryback. Have him look great, look like a monster, win matches, and have him face Goldberg. Something like that. Something like that should happen to Ryback. And what's working, and it's working right now well with Brock Lesnar. And then after that, we saw the Big Show come out, and they have a little square off. They meet in the ring. Brock Lesnar, for some reason, done the cheap way out, which is, to me, that's out of character because they need to establish him as a monster. I thought that was a little off, but what made up for it is when Big Show tossed Brock Lesnar and just made him look like, like he was throwing yesterday's garbage, is something like that. And here's the interesting thing. It doesn't make Brock Lesnar look weak at all, because earlier we saw him take out Mark Henry with the Kimura lock. He looks great. Have Big Show come out. Have him, get the last word on Brock Lesnar. Looks like it's not going to end just yet. But I like what they're doing with the Big Show. They're separating him with Rey Mysterio and that god-awful tag team. And now they're making Big Show look like a giant again. That's what they should do with the Big Show. And right now, it looks good for both guys. Brock Lesnar and the Big Show going forth. I could see them going one-on-one at the Royal Rumble, where Brock Lesnar goes over the Big Show. Does the Big Show stand a chance? Heck no. But to the casual fans, it looks good on paper. Moving on, we saw the Bella Twins taking out Alicia Fox and Oksana. And what happened was that Oksana and Alicia Fox won the match. I like that the WWE is giving Oksana the rub, so to speak. You know, they're noticing Oksana's, attributes in the ring right now. They're making her look good. But in the same time, you need to establish the Divas Champion AJ Lee as well. So I can see some sort of scenario where this one-on-one confrontation might lead. But I think that putting the Divas Champion in a situation where someone could benefit from will make perfect sense. Oksana right now is someone that the WWE has noticed. And like I said, put her with AJ Lee and let's just see what happens from there. We also saw 3MB versus Too Cool, Scotty 2 Hotty, Rikishi, and Grandmaster Sexay. This is one of those mark-out moments for me. I was always a big fan of Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi, as well as Grandmaster. And the moment with the worm and the dancing at the end looked great. Too Cool won the match. And like I said, that was a mark-out moment for me. No need to go on. That was a great moment. The Bad News Barrett, however, was not so great. I wish they would drop this whole Bad News Barrett gimmick on Wade Barrett and have him wrestle in the ring. It's not hard to do. So with that being said, it really just didn't cut it at all. After that, we saw CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. I thought this was the second good match of the night. One was a tag team match, the Real Americans versus the Brotherhood. And this match, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Now, before I get to this, there was a Piper's Pit segment where the special guests were The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And there was a little mention of Rowdy Piper saying, "What is this, Ambrose's Alley?" No, this is Piper's Pit. And here I'm thinking, that could be a good talk show. I could see Dean Ambrose sometime in the future having his own talk show based from that idea from Rowdy Piper, having it called Ambrose Alley. That would be great, I think, in my opinion. And what happened was that they almost caught Rowdy Piper off guard till CM Punk came out, and this is all leading up to their one-on-one match, and basically they're planting the seeds of Roman Reigns being the only guy that has never faced CM Punk, and who's the better man of the Shield. Is it Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, or Dean Ambrose? Because Punk has faced Seth Rollins and bet him, and has bet Dean Ambrose as well. So I thought this match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns was actually really good. Both guys put out a great performance in the ring, I thought, in my opinion. And at the end, Roman Reigns won the match. And I thought that was really interesting because Roman Reigns is the standout guy right now when it comes to all three guys of the Shield. Even though all the members of the Shield look great, Roman Reigns right now is the standout. In the beginning, he was the question mark, but as time went on, he looked great. And it looks like that the WWE has high hopes for Roman Reigns to become the next face. I know I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again because I think 2014 will be the year of Roman Reigns, as well as a lot of superstars like Antonio Cesaro, maybe Damian Sandow, maybe. So we'll see what happens within the year of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And after the match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, of course, it was basically 3-on-1 where the Shield attacked CM Punk after the match. Who was the guy that came out and saved the day? Jake the Snake Roberts. You talk about a huge mark-out moment. There you have it. Having Jake the Snake Roberts come out and just clean house on the Shield, and Damien, the new and improved Yellow Snake, on top of Dean Ambrose, and you saw that work on Dean Ambrose's face where he kind of really liked that as well, and that was interesting because, you get a lot of comparisons from Dean Ambrose being as weird as Jake the Snake, so having that Dean Ambrose being put in that situation where he gets Damien, Jake the Snake's snake, on top of him, almost felt like, that was the passing of the torch moment in a weird kind of way. Because Dean Ambrose is that weird guy on the microphone. He's like the new Jake the Snake, and we saw the Jake the Snake Roberts. That was a great moment to close out Old School Raw. What did you think of last night's show of Old School Raw? Comment below and let me know. And you can also follow MRB Wrestling Reviews on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and to all you MRBers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.